Hi, so welcome, and today we're going to start off with our mobilizer and our warm-up for our Pilates. So make sure that you're feeling well today, that you haven't got any massive problems with your joints. If you have, then I would recommend that you sit out today and not actually practice, okay? So really listen to your body and your mind, and if you're not feeling quite up to it, then step out for today. Okay, but if you're feeling pretty much ready to go, then let's get started. We're going to start with our feet together. Shoulders relaxed, and I just want you to take your heels out and your toes out so you've got your feet approximately hip width distance. The arms are relaxed, the legs are long and lengthened, the tailbone is moving down towards the floor, the abdominals are drawn in with the pelvic floor, front and back passage lifting up. The spine is feeling very long and lengthened, as if you've got a piece of string coming out through the top of your head. So you feel very, very tall. Pressing down through that big toe so the feet remain grounded, relaxing through the shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here, breathing wide and full into the rib cage, north, south, east and west. So breathing in and exhale. And then repeat this a couple of more times, just softly breathing wide and full into that rib cage and allowing it to relax. Again, one more time. Inhale to raise and exhale to release. So from here, let's begin by working through the shoulders first. So I want you to use the range of motion that's good for your shoulders. Inhale, raise the arms up softly and then gently bring them down. So thinking about all those things that we just spoke about, retaining the activation of the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor. Thinking about stabilizing through the shoulders as we raise the arms up and down. The shoulders should softly glide down the back. If it feels uncomfortable through the shoulder, just open the arms out a little bit wider into a V position. Keep thinking about drawing the tailbone down so that the back does not arch excessively. So we're going to complete about 5 to 8 repetitions of our shoulders just flexing and extending. Again, you can soften the elbows if that feels better, so it's not so extended through the elbow joint. And just thinking about lifting tall through the body and keeping the breath flowing very softly and naturally. From there, bring the arms either across the chest here or out into a Cossack position. Keep the elbow below the shoulder. Inhale, exhale, turn to one side and come back to center. So begin by taking a small range of motion first. Avoid really going straight into the rotation deeply. So decrease the range of motion for any spinal conditions. Feeling the length up, out through the spine, keeping the hips facing forwards like headlights of a car. The shoulders are relaxed and gliding down into your imaginary back pockets behind you. Allowing the breath to float very naturally. So we inhale here, exhale, float round to the side, inhale back to center. Exhale, floating around to the other side, and then inhale back to center. So we're going to do about 5 each side, 6 each side roughly. Pressing down through the big toe, keeping the feet connected to the ground, elongating through the spine. From there, relaxing the arms down beside you. We're going to slowly start to side bend. So side bending to your right and coming back to center, and then over to the left and back to center. So as you go over, be mindful not to put all your weight onto one foot. Try and keep the weight evenly distributed. Lift up, out through your waistline, a bit like a cork in a bottle of wine. Just gently trying to lift that cork up out of the bottle, lifting through that spine. To progress it, take the arm up and over. So we're just swaying from side to side, taking a soft stretch through the side of the body. Imagining you're like a windscreen wiper on a car, so you avoid leaning too far forwards, and you really keep that chest open as we float over to each side. Keep the weight evenly distributed through the feet. Just repeating about 5 repetitions each side. Elongating through the spine as we come back to center, and then bowing over once more each side, allowing the breath to flow very naturally, keeping that core engaged and lifting through the pelvic floor. Good. From there, we're then going to gently come to our next movement. So this is just utilizing the hips now. So you can keep your hands on your hips if this is going to help keep you feel stabilized through the pelvis. If not, take the arms out to the side or allow the hands just to relax beside the body. So we're going to take the foot forwards here and then glide the foot round to the side and then back to the center and then close. So gliding the foot out in front, round to the side, back to the center and close. So what we're doing here is trying to maintain the level of the hips to be level and avoiding any hip shifting. Taking the leg round to the side and back to center. You'll feel also that it's challenging the core through the balance that we're performing. If you wish to make it a little bit more challenging, take the foot slightly off the floor and then allow the legs to glide just an inch or so from the floor. Now when you're gliding around, think about contracting through the supporting buttocks and up through the thigh muscle as well, so that you're really feeling tall and lifted. Avoid sinking into the hip and destabilizing that hip. Keep it really strong through the leg, gliding the leg forwards and backwards. So we're going to take about 5 repetitions each side altogether. Drawing in all the time through that belt muscle. Don't forget it. Imagine you've got a piece of string on your belly button and it's slowly pulling you through to the back, or someone's pulling that string behind you. Thinking about, especially as you transfer the legs, that you don't have any hip shifting as well. It may be better to do this movement on a smooth floor, like a kitchen surface or a wooden floor. Being on a carpet sometimes or a mat can make it feel a bit sticky as you perform the movement. And what happens is then the pelvis destabilizes. Once more each side, lifting up through the body, elongating as tall as you can, shoulders relaxed. Allow the breath just carry on floating nice and softly as you perform the movement. Okay, so we're going to take the feet about hip width apart and we're going to move into a squat position, working through the hips, the knees and the ankles. Allow the hands to relax, draw in through your belt muscle. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, allow yourself just to take a small bend through the ankles, the hips and the knees and come back to standing. And go again. So we're going to take about 10 reps altogether. Now each rep that you could do, you can imagine you're sitting on sort of like a bar stool and then coming back up. But each rep as you go down, you can get a little bit deeper. Now I can't go deep because I've got tight Achilles tendons, but if you can get down to where you've got sort of like a dining room level chair, that would be a good place to aim for. If not, just work it through as much range of motion as you can, but please don't go lower than the dining room level of the chair. We want to think about keeping the knees above the toes, so that they don't go beyond the toes. Keep the heels grounded as you perform the movement. As you go down, draw in through your core stabilizing muscles so your lower spine is always supported. As you come back up, squeeze through the glutes and the thighs to help open out the hips. Lengthen up through the spine. Continue floating through the movement. Inhale down and exhale to lift. And again, inhale down, pressing through those feet and lifting. Be mindful that, as I say when we're in classes, not to do a little bit of a Charleston move there with the knees. Keep the knees in line with the hips as you move up and down. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into our roll down and roll up through the spine. So for this one, I just want you to take a carefully controlled roll down, vertebra by vertebra. So I'll turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. From here, I'm going to start with a small range of motion. I want to imagine that I've got buttons on the shirt here, and I'm going to try and get my nose to each button as I roll down. If you have a spinal problem such as osteoporosis, then I'd recommend just bowing through the hips, through a hip hinge, and then coming back through to standing, and avoid over flexing the spine. Deep breath in here, roll down the nose to the first button, the second button, bend through the knees if you need to. Hands fall in front, slowly then articulate back through the spine to a standing position. Inhale, exhale, go again, folding through the spine as you go a little bit further this time, allowing the arms to be very relaxed, so the hands might now dangle to the middle of the shin, and then roll back up to standing, restacking each vertebra one by one. Open out through the chest, squeeze the gluteals, the buttocks as you return to standing to open out the hips. Inhale, exhale, roll down again. Keep the legs straight if that feels better. Just aiming a little bit further towards the floor now, and then slowly articulate each knot, spiraling the legs out as you activate the buttock muscles. Open out through the hips, restack through the spine, all the way to lengthen up. And again, inhale, exhale, fold through. Press down through the feet, reach towards as far as you feel that you can. Allow the breath to relax. Inhale, exhale, slowly articulate back up through the spine, spiraling the legs around, activating the buttocks, open out the hips, lengthen up through the spine, feeling the height up out through the body. One last time, inhale, exhale, curling down through the spine, slow and controlled. Bending through the hips, the knees and the ankles, or keeping the legs a little bit more extended. Feel the stretch through the back of the body. Inhale, exhale. Bend your knees if you need to as you come back up to the standing position. And then from here, opening out through the chest, re-establishing your awareness of the feet into the ground, lengthening up through the thigh muscles, activating through the buttocks, drawing in through the belt muscle, relaxing through the shoulders, allowing the breath to breathe nice and full into that rib cage, breathing north, south, east and west. So we're now coming on to main phase number 2. Now, prior to this, you would have needed to have completed your warm-up mobilizer. So that will help to prevent injury and also get the joints really oiled up nicely, ready for the main phase. So let's get started with the one leg stretch exercise. Coming to lay onto your mat, setting yourself up into your set up supine position, knees fist width apart, shoulders stabilized, engage through the core, and think about breathing wide and full into that rib cage. Bringing the leg up to a tabletop position and then gently lower it back down again. So we're going to prepare with a few little knee folds here. Lifting the leg up and then lower back down towards the mat. Really think about working with control here. Keep the rib cage drawn down. It's balancing through the hips. Imagine balancing water on a tray across the hips here. One more each side. Really moving smoothly and controlled. It's very easy to always travel sometimes very fast when you're doing Pilates practice, but you need to think about how you're executing the movements. From here, let's bring the leg up to a tabletop position and then extend the leg out and then bring it back in. So we're going to do that 5 times, lengthen the leg out and gently bring it back in. So what should happen is, as the leg moves out, both legs will be probably roughly parallel to each other. Or if not, keep the leg a little bit higher. Back in, really think about elongating through the leg, as if you want to poke a cloud out the sky. Bring it back in and lower to the floor. Then slowly go on to the other side. So lifting the leg up, and then softly elongate through the legs, feeding the work through that front thigh muscle. As the leg extends, be careful not to roll to one side. Keep the hips balanced. Again, going back to those cups of water on the hips. Shoulders stabilize, and breathing is nice and soft and flowing, not forced, especially as the leg goes out. When you're ready, bring both legs to tabletop, imprint through the spine, so draw the rib cage down, so you've got a rib to hip connection to keep the spine safe. Always one leg at a time to tabletop, and then when you're ready, elongate through one leg and back in, and then the other leg and back in. So you're really thinking about moving with control. If you wish to, you can actually move the legs at the same time as one come in, one goes out. Breathe out. Inhale to switch, exhale to lengthen. Inhale to switch, exhale to lengthen. So if you're doing one leg at a time, do 5 repetitions each side, or simultaneously, you might end up doing approximately about 8 or 10 reps. Really feel the elongation. Spine should be nicely stabilized here. Core abdominals engaged. Shoulders remaining in contact with the floor as the leg extends. You're going to be feeling the work through the thigh muscles as well as the leg moves away. Good. Once more each side. And then slowly bend that leg in and return the legs one at a time back to your mat. Come round. You need to bring the legs in or have a full body stretch away as well. So we're going to move round onto our side kick. Now, arm can be extended away above the head, or it can be out in front of you, depending on what you prefer. So from here, set yourself up, plug this shoulder, bottom shoulder, into your socket. Top shoulder back and down. Lift through the abdominals. Elongate through the legs. Lift the top leg up and down 4 or 5 times, just to feel an opening through between the rib and the hip here. So you avoid kind of dipping in. Once you're ready, we're going to move into the main exercise. You lift your leg up and you bring the leg forwards and back. Remember, before we've done is bent leg underneath as we're performing the movement. So we're going to take about 8 to 10 repetitions here, moving forwards and backwards, stabilizing through the top shoulder and stacking the hips. Imagine you've got a screw down through the hips all the way, and your leg is literally swinging with control from that hinge. Toes to nose and toes back. So you can bring the toes forwards and then back. Feel the elongation through the leg as you feel the stretch, and point the toes on the way back. Don't forget all those set-up points of Pilates. Your shoulder down. Breathe. Engage through the abdominals and the pelvic floor. Let's take one more time. Okay. Feeling the neck long and lengthened. And then when you're ready, bring the knees in to a fetus release if you need to relax out. So the next exercise we're going to do is the swimming in 4-point kneeling or box position. So if you have any wrist or knee issues, you can do this exercise laying down, hands on forehead, and lifting each leg one at a time, like so. If not, come up onto the hands or fists. You can also fold up your mat if you prefer as well, to give a little bit of extra padding underneath the hands, or fold up the mat for a bit of padding underneath the knees. Now be careful you're not overly flexed. Can you see here? Here I've not got my knees directly underneath my hips, and I need to step out away and come further forwards here. Your eyes should be about a foot in front of your hands in this position. We're going to start by sliding the leg out along the mat and then bringing it back in again. Okay, slide the leg out along the mat and then bring it back in again. So here you need to think about pushing through the hands Stretching through the leg. Don't lift it just yet. Think about elongation through the leg. Elongation through the tailbone to the top of the head and outwards. Lengthen through the spine. So this could be one option, 4, 5, 6 reps each side. If not, lengthen and lift the leg now. Avoid lifting the leg too high that you compress into the spine. Think about having a tray from the shoulder blades all the way down to the pelvis with glasses of water or champagne, whatever you fancy, so you keep it balanced. Think about the quality of the movement and the control as you move through the exercises. Going on to the other side, and then we'll progress it. So you can stay here if you wish to. If you get tired, just sit back and circle the wrists and shake the wrists off and then join back in again. So from here, using the arm and the leg now. So it's not about how high I can lift my arm and leg. It's all about how smooth and controlled I can be and how much I can elongate and lengthen my arm and leg. Feeling the elongation, stretch, stretch, stretch through that body. Smooth, controlled movements, engaging through the core and stabilizing through the shoulders. We're going to take one more each side. Lengthen out, lift through it and engage. Slowly come back to your mat with control. Switching to the other side as we lengthen and lift. Shoulder stabilized, breathing wide and full. When you're ready, relax back, release the wrists, relax off, and then go into a child's pose if you need to. So we're going to move on to the second side of our side kick. Now, when you did this last time, your head would have been facing me this way. So now to make sure we don't repeat the same side, let's go the other way. So your head will be the same way as I am now. So from here, lengthen out through the spine, bend the underneath leg if you need to, plug this bottom shoulder into the socket. Top shoulder back and down, bottom leg bent or straight depending on what you wish. Lift up and down to begin with. Create space between that top rib and that pelvis. Trying to reach the toe on the other side of the room. 4 to 5 repetitions here. When you're ready, lift that leg off and bring the leg forwards and backwards. So we're going to do about 8 to 10 repetitions, toes to nose, and then draw the leg back. Challenging our balance as the leg comes forwards, engage through the abdominals to help you. Breathing in, keeping the eyes looking ahead, avoid tucking the chin down or looking too high. So toes to nose and then coming back. Imagine that screw down through the hips towards the mat so the leg swings forwards and backwards. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Engage through the core muscles, breathe in. Use the range of motion that feels good for your body. Good, let's take another one in your own time. Allowing the leg to gently come forwards and then gently drawing the leg back in and then slowly releasing off into your fetus release. So from here, we're then going to come up to a seated position. So from here you can put a towel underneath your sit bones or a cushion just to give you a little bit more height up out through the top of the spine. You can have your legs bent or straight. So from here, having the arms across the chest or in Cossack position. Inhale, lift up, exhale to float round. Then softly come back to center and then go to the other side. So start with a small range of motion. Any spinal conditions, don't go round too far, just a slight little turn and come back to center. If you wish to progress, go round a little bit further. Imagine that you're like a lighthouse out out, looking out across the ocean. So avoid just turning the head. Keep the nose in line with the breastbone, the sternum, coming around. If you wish to make it a little bit more challenging, bring the arms into a capital E position, just so you can see that peripheral, out of your peripheral view is your little finger. Avoid bringing the arm across because that closes the chest off. We're floating around. If you wish to, you can extend the arms. If the arms get tired, just lower the arms down and bend the elbows. Keep the chest open. Spiraling around as far as you can with care and with control. Keeping both sit bones grounded as we travel. When you're ready, slowly float round for the last time each side. And then, when you have finished, come back to the center and just reach out side to side into your side reach, just to release. Good. Now, if you'd like to now go on to your closing phase. So we're now coming on to the closing phase. So this is where we incorporate stretching out pretty much all of the muscles that we have worked in the session. So we're going to start with the good old hamstring stretch to begin with. So come to lay onto your back. Now, the bottom leg can be bent if you've got any spinal worries or concerns or issues, or straight. Top leg extended towards the ceiling. You can use a band around the foot or hands behind the leg. Taking a deep breath in here, exhale, and softly just feel a stretch through the back of the leg here. Opening up, feeling a soft elongation. Some of you may feel the leg is bent. That's fine, just work with the flexibility you have and slowly feel the opening through the back of the leg as you're here. You're feeling a stretch maybe here or in the belly of the muscle as well. We're going to just gently hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, feeling the opening. Again, if you flex through the ankle, dorsiflex through the ankle like I am, you'll feel the stretch into the calf muscle as well. But whatever you do, don't bend off, keep the leg straight there. When you're ready, slowly bend the leg in, and we'll go to the other side. Extend the leg away, feel the stretch first. If the leg is slightly bent, try to slowly work to open that leg. Allow the breathing to be soft, floating through the breath. Feeling a nice sense of calm when you're stretching. Shouldn't be to a point of discomfort. Should just be feeling a nice gentle stretch there, just an awareness that you're stretching the muscle. Okay, so we're going to come on to butterfly stretch. You can open both legs out at the same time or just do one leg at a time. So we're going to hold for about 10 to 15 seconds, feeling nice opening here, stretching through the inner thigh muscles. If you need to, you can just lift the pelvis a little bit, place the hands underneath the buttocks, or just keep the hands on top. Taking a few deep breaths, breathing in, breathing out, just to open out through those thighs. And then when you're ready, slowly close the legs in carefully, and we're going to bring the knees into the chest. Okay, so we're going to just stretch through the lower back. If it feels better, open the knees out to the shoulders rather than having them over the rib cage. Might be a bit restricted for the breathing. It's up to you, depends how it feels. If it's too much doing both sides, you can always do one leg at a time, holding for 10-15 seconds. So breathing in and breathing out softly here. Feeling a gentle stretch through the lower back. Good. If you need to swap over to the other leg and hold that for a few breaths there before we move on to our next stretch. Again, you can bring the head up in this stretch as well if you wish to feel a little bit more through the back, but it can be quite challenging with the head up. So any concerns, keep the head down. When you're ready, coming over onto your side, we're going to do a thigh stretch and a hip flexor stretch. Laying on your side, taking the hand onto the knee, slide it down the leg towards the ankle, and then just take the knee away from you. Then the bottom leg so you can be balanced. Guide the knee away, feeling the stretch through the thigh and the hip. Continue to breathe nice and softly. Again, just feeling a point of a little bit of tension here. If you can't hold the ankle, you can always wrap a band or a yoga strap around the ankle and hold that instead. Okay, might be easier. Then when you're ready, you can then slowly come up into a cat stretch. So we're going to open out through our cat, just gently rounding off the back and then coming back through. So you can keep traveling this movement a little bit like a mobilizer. Or if you wish to, just hold it there for a few seconds. Breathing wide and full into the back. When you're ready, softly relax back into your child's pose. Now the arms can be extended for a chest stretch, a side of body stretch, or bend the elbows if it's too much. Blood pressure concerns, 2 fists to keep the head higher than the heart. Here, I want you to feel like you're breathing right into your back here. Just allowing the back to ease out. When you're ready, slowly come up to a seated position. And then last time we had our head that way, so now we're going to have our heads this way so we stretch the other thigh muscle. So coming to lay on your side, again slide the hand down the leg towards the ankle and then slowly, gently take the leg away as far as you feel that you can. Softly holding that stretch there just for 10 to 15 seconds, feeling the stretch up through the thigh and into the hip possibly. Again, like I said on the last side, you can place a band around the ankle here to hold it, or a yoga strap. Looking straight ahead and just feeling a soft stretch there, so not too powerful. When you're ready, coming up to a seated position, and then we're going to take a seated side stretch. Just stretch out through the side of the body for the obliques and the latissimus dorsi muscle. Keeping those sit bones grounded, one hand beside you, lifting the arm up and over, and feel that stretch down through the side of the body. Elongate through the arm. If that's too powerful, soften the elbow off. Keep the breath wide and full here. Feeling that soft elongation. Float over to the other side and feel the stretch here on the other side. Keep the sit bones grounded, arm back, lengthening the arm away or bending the arm if you prefer, depending what feels better for your body. Few deep breaths here. Just to elongate the side of the body. When you're ready, softly come back to center and just roll the shoulders around a few times. Just take a soft neck stretch to each side, just to ease out any tension there. And then gently allow the head to come center and bow the chin down. Just stretch through the back of the neck. So, hope you've enjoyed your sessions and look forward to seeing you soon.